So. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right. What's up, Biggie Nation? Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Stage Ready. And today you're gonna watch me do a little back workout. It was a really good workout, super intense. What we did, the methodology we used today was basically a bunch of warm-up sets, 1 to 3 warm-up sets on everything, and then 1 to 2 all-out sets of failure. So we started with the underhand pull-downs, which I feel works the lower lats very well. So after finishing with the underhand pull-downs, we ventured over to the DY row, which is basically just an underhand seated row, but with the angle that it hits, it's really good for working the rhomboids, the upper back, and again, we did 1 to 3 warm-ups, finished off with a really high intense set where we just did a bunch of sets to failure, or reps to failure. Then we went over to wide grip pull-downs on the hammer strength machine, and what we do here is a little different. Is I kick my hips out a little bit, put my chest on the pad, so that when I'm coming down, it's targeting the lats more than just the scapula and the rhomboids, which a lot of the pull-downs that you see people doing where they're actually retracting the shoulder blades and pulling the elbows behind their back, it's a lot more mid-back work than actual lat work, because if you look at the functionality of the lats, which is to pull the arm straight down and behind towards the hip, then what ends up happening is by kicking your hips out a little bit, pulling your elbows down towards your hips, you're going to hit the lats a lot more. And then we went over and I did actually 4 sets of dumbbell pullovers. The reason why we didn't do any high intensity sets there is because of the shoulder and everything. With the previous injury I had, I have to be really careful with the movements and keep it slow, so keep it controlled and progress slowly. So we just did 4 regular, progressively heavier sets there. And then we went over to what I like is you don't see many people do it, but it's called a pull row down, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to pull like you're doing a lat pull down, but then you're going to lean back at the bottom and do and row it into your sternum. This works really well for the lower lats again, and especially if your lower back's not feeling so strong that day. Rather than risk injury or have to go lighter when you're doing like bent over rows or something like that, it puts it into the same movement pattern, and you also get that super nice stretch at the top, so you're contracting harder at the bottom. But I really like this exercise. Paul Carter from Lift Run Bang taught me this exercise probably about 4 years ago, and it's been a go-to whenever my back's not feeling great. My lower back's not feeling great, because I can still get that bent over row feel with and keep my back in a better position. I'm not feeling especially sexy today. I feel a little rough.
It's that beard.
But as you're watching this workout, some things I want you to think about, because, you know, again, from up and coming bodybuilders, the key phrase would be, do you have the guts to fail? Having the guts to fail is what you want to ask yourself when you're training really hard. Like if you're doing a set of squats, or you're taking that set past the point of failure where you know you need a training partner, you have somebody behind you, getting force reps, but are you really demanding everything from yourself to make sure you get every last bit of energy out of you, to make sure you're pushing the muscle to the maximum extent, creating maximum trauma to that muscle, so that your body has to respond by getting stronger, getting bigger. A lot of times with the internet and social media and everything, you know, a lot of you young bodybuilders out there, you're watching people train that have been doing it for years, and you're not realizing that's how we started. You know, I remember when I was early on in my career, and I was in college, and we would squat, and I mean, we'd be squatting for hours, and to a point where you couldn't even barely walk out the gym. Now, I don't do that now because my body couldn't handle that type of workout, but when I was young and just starting, that's how we built that dense muscle, that's how we built the size without supplementation, you know, and I think that's what you gotta be willing, the level you gotta be willing to push yourself to to basically where you're ready to crawl out of the gym. So if you're asking yourself what supplement to take, what's the secret? The secret is not being afraid to fail. You know, put every ounce of energy into your workouts. Make sure that when you're in there, you're leaving everything in the gym, that when you walk out, you have nothing left. That is what's going to be the key to you actually taking your physique to a different level when it comes to your training. And then also, the other thing I hear a lot of young bodybuilders do is they say, and when I say bodybuilders, I'm talking about all classes that are involved in our physique sport, is they're afraid to fail when it comes to doing a show. You know, they keep saying, I'm gonna compete. But then it's been 2 years of training and they still haven't competed. And they're going, well, I want to get better. I want to make sure that when I get out there, I'm going to win. I want to make sure when I get out there, I'm going to be able to turn pro. And I'm going to let you know right now, no matter how good you look, you're going to always want to be better. That's what drives our sport. That just drives you to continue to improve and continue to want to come in and work hard in the gym, continue to want to eat perfect all the time. So you're never going to be perfect. But if you're going after it and doing it, you're not going to know where you stand unless you do a show. And if you've been training for a little over a year, then I'd say, you know, suck it up, go for it, give it a shot, and see if you really love it. Because certainly, you know, you can be in the gym, be a bodybuilder, and just lift weights, work out hard. But if you're saying you want to compete, you're saying you want to be a pro, you got to get started. And so I suggest you stop waiting until you're perfect, because you're never going to be perfect, and just give it a shot and compete. And then you know what you need to work on, and it gives you fuel. And it also, you know, when you go through that whole process of stripping down and getting lean, your body overcompensates when you come back up, and you actually grow more. So just remember that. Don't be afraid to fail. Take your workouts to the highest intensity possible. Make sure you're eating all your food, being perfect as possible, and you know, go after it. Thank you to my sponsors. Couldn't do this without you. Thank you to my wife for all your support, my family, and we have new merchandise available. You can see it here on the screen. New Biggie Athletic sweatshirts available. You can just email us at abphysiques@hotmail.com. DM us at Fred Biggie Smalls. Thanks for watching. If you learned anything, got inspired, saw anything you liked, hit like, hit the bell, and we'll see you next time.